Aloha everyone, and welcome to the 11:30 p.m. Hurricane Lane update. The official update is out, so we will get to that in just a minute. What you're looking at here on the screen is the current, let's just make sure it's the current, there it is, current radar imagery. The cone has been altered. As you see, it's got a nice big westerly turn coming up, and it has been downgraded to a tropical storm. So let's go ahead and get right to the official release. National Hurricane Center says that 11 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, the center of Tropical Storm Lane was located near latitude 19.4 north, longitude 158.5 west. Lane is moving towards the north-northwest near 3 miles per hour or 6 kilometers per hour, and this general motion is expected to continue through Saturday morning. This will likely be followed by a turn towards the west with an increase in forward speed starting Saturday afternoon. This westward motion is forecasted to continue through Sunday. On the forecast track, the center of lane will pass south of Kauai on Saturday. Maximum sustained winds are near 65 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Additional weakening is forecast through this weekend, and lane may become a remnant low by Sunday. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 130 miles or 215 kilometers from the center. The estimated minimum central pressure is 992 millibars or 29.30 inches. So that's pretty much it. It's been downgraded, which is pretty cool. And what I've been watching with this storm is the way it's interacted with the islands is been a very interesting experience to watch. This is the first opportunity I've gotten to see one go this direction and get this close. And just watching Mauna Loa, which is this mountain range right here, really just tore up this storm once it moved northward and got up, the eye got past the southern point of the island. What happened, well, actually let me back up a little bit. Yesterday what was happening with the storm being located more south of the island, as the rain bands would come in, they would slam into the slope of Mauna Loa there, between Mauna Loa and Kilauea. And it would split that energy and send it north and send it south around the mountain, which that means Hilo and the South Point area was getting most of the rain, and here in Leilani Estates we were just getting quick little bands that would pass through in 10 minutes, dump a bunch of rain, some gusty wind, and move on, and then we get another 15-20 minutes or so of no rain or wind. However, today that changed when the storm moved up the west coast of the island, and the eye got past the southern point. All the would be the northeastern quadrant of the storm started slamming up against Mauna Loa, and instead of it splitting, it literally acted like a chisel and just sliced all that energy off. And as you can see here in the radar, it's pushed it over the entire east coast and most of the north coast of the island. So Hilo's just been getting rain for 3 days pretty much non-stop. Since this started occurring earlier this afternoon, we here in Leilani and in Pahoa and along the whole east coast have started getting the rain, and it's just been non-stop with pretty gusty winds. So it's funny that as the storm breaks down as a tropical storm and is starting to move away from the islands, we start seeing the worst weather, well, at least on our side, since it approached. And it's all because of Mauna Loa. Earlier today, though, when I was watching the radars, I noticed that a lot of the energy was being funneled up through Saddle Road, which is what connects Kona to Hilo, which runs between Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea, and it runs, up between those two. And I've seen weather, just regular storms, get funneled up through that pass, and it can get pretty windy, you know, if you're driving through there. I've been driving through there, and storms come through, and you literally just have to stop on the side of the road and wait because you can't see anything. The wind is blowing so hard that the vehicle's rocking. And it's just a little thunderstorm, you know, or a rainstorm. It don't even have to be a thunderstorm. So I can only imagine what it must have been like when all that energy was passing up through there earlier today. So that's pretty much the radar and what we're looking at. You can see these yellow areas with a little bit of red in them right here. These are the heavier cells of rain, and that's all moving up and over this way, you know, rotating, you know, counterclockwise from the center, coming up this way. And as you can see, it's just all slamming right up into the mountain right there. So I suspect here in a little while, we're probably going to get a little bit more heavier rain and some wind gust. And it won't be too long from the look of it. So something else that I want to show y'all is I found some other cool little maps while I had some time to do a little bit of research. What we're looking at here is the projection cone map showing the previous track, you know, of where it's come from, basically, you know, as it approached the island. But that's not the one I was actually looking for. There it is. This one's pretty cool, actually. This is a progression map. Where'd it go? Now this is working just fine before I start streaming. There we go. This is a progression map, and it shows, you know, the probability cone, and you know, every time there's an update, you know, that's what we're seeing in the progression is the update. And of course, the spot right here is the actual official current position at that time with the projection cone in front of it. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and just so you know, I haven't been watching the chat. Just trying to do the update. Can't quite do both, so whatever y'all are saying over there, I'm not seeing yet. But keep it going, because I will go back and look at it here in just a few minutes. There's some more things I want to show y'all. One of the next ones is this one. This is the Lane Long Floater. It's the satellite they've got floating over the storm and following it. And this is the visible imagery loop. Boy, I can't talk tonight. And as you see that little flash that goes across the screen right there, that's actually the day-night line, where the camera goes from visible and switches over to an infrared. This is infrared, this is visible, this is infrared. And what's really cool in this one is we watch this loop. We see the storm here, and you see the convection in the storms. Now the circulation is over here, the eye, and but if you watch the clouds, it's like when it gets to a certain point, it just really just stops. It looks like a lot of the rotation stops, and this big chunk of energy on the storm just really kind of breaks off and starts, you know, moving northeast. And it's funny because in Florida, when we'd see this move over into, you know, the mainland, like if you go up into Texas or Louisiana or Alabama area up in the Gulf Coast, once it hit land and moved over land, we would basically see the storm disintegrate very quickly, and a big chunk of its energy would literally break off and start feeding a line of weather, you know, moving to the northeast. And it was like it would bleed off all the energy through that way. Well, what I'm seeing here is very similar to that I see on the Atlantic hurricanes, and but it's happening over water. And the only explanation, of course, is the interaction between the upper level winds of the storm and the mountains on the islands. Which, like I said, that's new to me. So I'm learning this myself and how it's interacting, which is actually pretty cool. So that's that map. This is the short range water vapor. Actually, no, sorry, I said short range. This is the water vapor loop. This basically shows us where all the heavy moisture is in the system. And again, you know, it shows all that energy just being knocked off, which, again, I think is pretty cool. I get fascinated by this sometimes. This is another version of the radar. If I'm correct, this is the imagery that they use for positioning, if I remember what I read correctly. So basically showing us the same thing. And just another colorized version of basically the same thing. So that's basically that. So not a whole lot changed, just a lot of weather. Of course, you know, the other islands are now, you know, starting to see some stuff too. And we're just gonna have to wait. You know, the storms don't strengthen overnight usually, but it's possible now that it's moving further away from the islands. They say it break down, but it's always possible it could strengthen a little bit. But I do believe it's going to break down. I think it's lost too much of its energy to sustain its own feedback loop. And it is over a little bit cooler water now too, so that all works against it. Works against the storm, but definitely works for us. So, okay, so that's the map. Now what I'm going to do is let y'all look at some cool photographs. I like this one. I don't know if you can see that right there in the middle. If you look at that there, that's a guy standing up on top of the shipping container that was at the doghouse house, and he's looking at his phone. I don't know what he's looking at because he's not taking a picture unless he's taking a picture of someone back on the road. This was down at the bottom of Kahukai. So y'all can look at those, and I'm going to come over here to my other PC where I've got the chat open and take a look and see what y'all been saying. So first, hello Suzanne. Hi Kathy. Boy, there's that name again. Kira Lee or Kira Lee. You know, we will get that right, I promise, one day. Good evening to you. Hi Jan. Hi Kathy, kilometers, you understand? Yeah, well, I put those in because, well, they're in the official report, so it makes it easy. And I know when I do my later reports, I get a lot of my watchers over from the UK area, you know, Australia area, you know, the other side of the planet. So I know it's nice for y'all because y'all use the metric, where we're still over here on the imperial or standard system, whatever you call it. But I was raised, you know, with inches and gallons, and I don't think I will ever be able to do the conversion. I've tried before, actually, but I just can't do it. Let's see. Yes, it was an amazing storm cell to watch. Kathy, only 3 drops of rain? Wow. I wish we would have a little bit of a drought here. We really need it. Things are so wet because we got all that rain from the microclimate that the eruption set up on top of us. And, you know, as soon as that broke down, I think we got maybe 3 or 4, or actually I think it was about 3 days of sun, you know, with an occasional shower, which was okay. But nothing really dried out. And then now this storm. So it's just, I don't think it's ever going to dry out again. Hi Linda, you watched the previous stream? Yeah, that was kind of funny. I enjoyed that ride along with Scott from Pahoa. He's a fun guy to talk to and hang out with. Hello, Yellow actually, yeah. Boy, I can't talk tonight, guys. I don't know what it is. It's probably because I was out in the storm and, you know, my brain got waterlogged or something. But Yellow Labrador, hello. All the way from Ireland. Damn. Oops, excuse me. Darn. Linda, they call it decoupling, where the eye separates from the rest. Cool, I didn't know that was the term that they used for it. No, that wasn't Suzanne. No, that wasn't a picture of Scott. He was actually, I think, when I was taking that photograph, he was actually there doing his own thing, but I believe he was behind me at the time. Curly, is Scott in this pic? Uh, well, the one I'm currently seeing on the screen is of three fissures erupting. So no, I don't think he's in that pic. Hello down under, Robert. Welcome. Sophia, is tephra good for the soil? Um, you know, I don't think it's rather good or bad. I mean, a lot of the soil is made up of cinder and stuff like that, and cinder's, just I think a little bit more denser form of the tephra. Tephra is basically like when the fountain was erupting and throwing stuff up in the air. The tephra was like the foam that was being whipped up, the froth from all the bubbling and the fountaining, and it got carried away with the wind. So it's really porous and aerated material as it cools. So it does break down, but I know when it breaks down into small particles of like volcanic glass. So I don't think it would necessarily hurt the soil, but it's not going to add like any rich nutrients or anything like that. At least I don't think it will. No, he wasn't in the lava pit. This is actually one of my favorite photos here. This is taken in the morning after some rain, and that was the steam coming up. This one here, if you look at that there, that's actually Moku, and the crack that eventually got repaired by the residents, so people could get in and finish evacuating back on the backside of Malama. And you can see in this one all the sulfur and smoke and steam and stuff in the air in the background. This image here we're looking at, that there is the giant crack in NOAA Street. This is actually a very interesting area that I watched. Basically got this big crack, and as you can see, the road on the right is lower than the road on the left. Well, the road on the right down 2 or 3 properties, that whole section of land just literally sunk down in the ground, and it was like maybe 5 feet. This one we're seeing here is I believe Kapono, and basically the kind of same thing happened there with the land, but it wasn't as wide. And what we're seeing here is this crack basically is it would be the north, well, not north, the northwest edge of the fissure, and the depression is the actual fissure system. So over on the right side of that picture, it would have cracked, and the road would have been higher elevated. So basically, down this fissure line, as the magma came down, it just, broke everything up, and it sunk the land into a nice depression in multiple spots. Oh, started looking at the pictures and forgot about the chat. Sorry, guys and girls. Thank you, Kara Lee. Yes, everybody, don't forget to thumbs up. That does help me a lot and lets other people know that's good stuff to watch. Molten, actually, it does look like molten metal. I thought that numerous times, because when the lava's fresh, it's very silver looking, as you can see here in this picture. I mean, it's got a shine to it and a sheen, and areas, some areas of it kind of are rainbow colored. But then as it cools and ages, it's really interesting. It gets dark, black. You've seen other lava flow pics, of older stuff. I think I've shown some of that type of stuff, but it gets very dark in color. But then as it ages even more, it lightens up. It begins to oxidize a little bit, and it's really a cool process to watch, which hopefully, as we gain access back to these areas, I'll be able to photograph and film some of that stuff, and over the next year or two, if everybody keeps following me, you'll be able to see that progression yourself. That's one of my long-term projects I'm thinking about with this, is basically trying to archive, some type of time lapse, over, months type period, like a picture a day or a picture a week, and the same place, same location, same time, and build that progression. I think that would probably be pretty cool to watch. But of course, it's going to take 6 months to a year to do. Sophia, yeah, I think the lava is beautiful too. I think it's beautiful when when it's molten and red and glowing. I think it's beautiful when it's cooling and crackling, and I think it's just amazing, even more amazing to look when it's really old and ancient. Okay, so let's see, what else was there that I wanted to show y'all. I think I covered it all. Yeah, okay, I'm just looking through my browser tabs that I had opened up, and looks like, yeah, I pretty much covered everything with the storm. I wanted to show y'all some of these photographs and talk about them. Let's see, so I guess that pretty much covers everything in this update that I wanted to do. So now let's turn it over to y'all. Any specific questions about anything? I mean, it can be about the volcano, it can be about the storm, it can be about any of these photos or anything like this. Because if you have a specific question you wanted to ask, we have a very slow chat tonight, so it would be very easy for me to see those questions. So looking here, we see Suzanne says, do they ever go in and try to remove it from streets or residential areas, or do they just leave it? For the most part, they just leave it. It depends where it is. Like, for example, here in Leilani, I do know one thing. The Homeowners Association will go in on some of the roads and chop out some of the lava flows that's crossed it, because in some areas where the lava has crossed it, it's a very small area, very easy. However, other streets that are fully covered, like Luana, and further down, I don't think they're really going to do anything with that, because I don't think anybody's going to be able to rebuild there, so there's not going to be any roads needed. Now, as for the county and some of the other roads, like Leilani Avenue is actually a county road, and I don't think the county will push Leilani all the way through to Poiki again. It would just probably be way too costly, and it's going to be a long time before they'll be able to do it safely anyways. Other major highways like 132 and 137, I actually suspect they will push those through, because that's more of a safety thing. Those roads were used for other evacuation routes and stuff for hurricanes and and other lava eruptions that were in the past and things. So those are pretty vital, and those are being state roads. I'm pretty sure they will push those type of roads through. Okay, let's move on, see if there's any other questions. Countdown warning on the upcoming stream. Please teach Scott to do this. No, I'm not going to teach Scott. He steals my ideas all the time. No, actually, I planned on it. I just kind of discovered that one myself tonight, and I thought, hey, that might work. Give y'all some warning so you can go grab some popcorn or something to drink, a blankie, cuddle up in your favorite chair, whatever, So it worked out pretty well. However, I noticed it caused me a little bit more anxiety than normal, because I was having to watch the warning or the timer, count down, and I had to make sure I wasn't late. So, it put me on a schedule as well. Maggie, hi Ireland. Maggie, is the lava steaming a lot now with all the rain? Actually, yes, it is. USGS put out a warning that the flow fields were still very warm, and with all the rain, there's going to be a lot of steam, which could cause whiteout conditions over the lava fields. So yes, they are steaming. Now, has those areas flooded with the new lava? I don't think it would, because all that's really higher land. So the areas around the lava maybe have pulled up some water. Plus the lava is kind of cracking up and porous, and it's steaming off a lot of it. So I don't think a lot of water would collect there at all. But no one really knows for sure, because with the storm, there's been no overflights. Of course, we're not allowed into the area. And actually, I'm adventurous, but I wouldn't even go out there in this weather. That's just asking to get hurt. And mahalo with the pictures. Yeah, they are kind of lovely. I do like them myself. This one actually is where all the chaos broke loose down at the end of Kahukai. Looking at this picture here, if you look down just above the middle center of the picture, you see another road on the other side of the fallen poles. That's actually Leilani Avenue, and this is the bottom of Kahukai. So if you go down there to Leilani and turn left, you would end up at Poiki Road, where Leilani connects to it. And this whole area, that whole area, eventually erupted with 3 or 4 fountains, and it just filled it up like a lake. I watched the level of the lava flow just rise, and there was times I was out there watching it, and it was really cool. You could literally see the surface, ebb and wane under, the motion and the impact of the falling lava from the fountains. It literally had very slow waves in it. It looked alive. It looked like water. It was pretty cool. Yes, down to Poiki. They're at 132 in Poiki Road, past Lava Tree. That's covered with lava. So all that area down, I do believe, down past Leilani Avenue, heading down to 137. I'd say 80% of that road is under lava at some point or another. There are a few little sections that were spared, but there's no way to get to them. You're welcome. I actually didn't show him how to stream. He actually figured that one out on his own. He just did it the same day that I was going to, and I didn't tell him that I was going to, because I've discovered sometimes when I share some ideas with him, if he likes those ideas, he kind of well, I don't want to say steals them, but he uses them for inspiration to create his own that are very similar. But I don't mind, actually. Anything I can help Scott with, with YouTube that I learned that he doesn't know, I do all the time, and vice versa. So it's been a good collab between us in that respect. We learned a lot how to use this stuff. Are the helicopters fewer now that the lava drama is over? You would think yes, but not really. I mean, when the weather's bad, they're not, they're not flying. It's like this whole hurricane thing has actually had it, a silver lining. Let's talk about the cloud with a silver lining. Here's a hurricane with a silver lining. One, we didn't really have to deal with a direct hit, but it made the weather dangerous enough for them that they don't fly. So we've had 2 or 3 days now without helicopters. And I'd rather listen to the wind and the rain all day versus those helicopters. But before the storm got here, no, the helicopters were out there. I would say there's probably less flights because there was less people booking. Because I did notice there was some times where I didn't hear any, but it wasn't soon after that I'd hear one coming. So I suspect with the lava not actually flowing, the actual people booking passage was down. So that's really what controls the number of flights per day, the duration of the flights, etc. Is how many people do they got waiting to get on. And of course, with the lava flowing, people were lining up around the island. You know, Maggie, you're right. Watching the lava pour out of the ground and fountain didn't really, creep me out that much. It really more mesmerized me. But to be in some of those areas where you see the steam coming out and hearing the hissing and stuff, that was kind of creepy. I mean, it was like, I guess that's the unknown. You don't know if and when lava is going to come up out of those cracks with all that steam. But once it does, you know that's where it is. So I guess it's one of those things, it's the fear of the unknown. Sophie, according to the USGS report, the last one I read, which was dated the 25th or 24th, excuse me, there was still a few little spots, but it's not a whole lot. Pretty much the lava flow out there over Pahoa is pretty much oozed out most of the remaining lava that could get out. I'm sure there still will be a few here and there over the next weeks to come, but that will eventually come to a halt completely. Oh, sorry, Maggie, I didn't realize that you did that, but my answer's still valid. Linda, I booked a Hilo tour next month. Sorry in advance, but gotta see it all for real. You know what, Linda? I don't blame you. I'll be honest with you. I have no problem with people taking the tours and flying over and looking. I actually am a little envious because I would love to see it from up there too. And I live here, so it's not the people that want to see it that I actually blame. I blame the policies that the tour companies operate under. They try to book in as many as possible to make as much as possible on it. And I know some of those tour companies have given back and helped the community and given people, residents free rides and stuff like that. And I appreciate that, and a big mahalo out to them. However, they could implement, certain time limits. Like, what I would have been happy with is if we got 2 days a week, like one, pick their slowest day, Monday through Friday, that they were having, and cut that one into maybe a half day, fly between 11 and 3. And then on Sunday, no flights at all. Give us a day off. Yeah, that would cut into their profit a little bit, but if they really wanted to help the community, that would have, in my opinion, be one of the best and simplest ways that they could have done it. Because we all know we live in a tourist destination. I mean, that's just the reality, and we accept that. What we were complaining about with the helicopters was just it was way too much. I mean, think about this: from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., all you hear constantly is the sound of the blades chopping the air on a helicopter, that choot 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 sound, and you hear it getting louder and quieter and louder and quieter, and it just goes back and forth as they fly back and forth in and out, and it's just constant. I mean, it even at airport it's not that noisy. There's not a plane taking off every second, but that's what this was like. It was like, the helicopters were taking off every second and flying over us. But okay, I'm ranting on the helicopters. But the whole point is, Linda, take the flight, take some great photos, follow me on Twitter, and share them. You never know. I might pick one and ask for your permission to feature it on Look at That There. Well, I've never been in a war zone, Suzanne, but yeah, I imagine it could be like that. Oh, well then, Linda, you know exactly what I was dealing with. But at least that was located there. Didn't matter where in the neighborhood I went. It was just chopper, chopper, chopper. Oh, cool, Linda. That sounds great. I'm actually excited. Uh, so when you fly over, don't forget to stick your hand out and wave. Okay. It looks like that. Let's actually change this because those pictures are repeating themselves. Let's go back over to the radar and take a look-sees here. Hit the refresh. Nope, same thing. Still raining. And by the way, it has been raining this entire stream outside. Luckily, I got good windows, so it isn't really loud in here. Well, you can stick it out, just don't stick it up. Let's see. Let me take a drink of my drink here real quick. My mouth is getting a little dry from running it so much. Hello, Robert. Oh, something I wanted to share with y'all. I know some of y'all that have been following me have already heard this, and it's a joke that was inspired by the eruption. I shared it in some other videos, so I know some of you know the joke already. So don't say anything in the chat. I'm sure there's maybe a few people here listening that haven't heard it. Hi, Mark. And so I'll share it with them, or share it for them if they haven't heard it. But I have something for everybody else that has heard it, so just be patient. Okay. Fair warning, the joke's a little cheesy, but it is kind of funny, and it's a new chicken joke, and I really think it's one of the best chicken jokes that's been made up in a very long time. So here it is. Why did the chicken cross the active lava flow? Because it was invited to a barbecue on the other side. Okay, like I said, it was cheesy, but it's a good chuckle. Now, for everybody else that's already heard that joke, and for everybody that didn't, I have another one for you. It's not a chicken joke, though. So here we go. Why did the lava flow to the ocean? I'll give you a minute to think. Why did the lava flow to the ocean? Because it had to cool off. Okay, yeah, I know that one's cheesy too. But sometimes I like cheesy jokes. It's the creativity and the humor that makes it humorous. Wow. Chat went silent. Did my jokes bomb that bad? Yes, Sophia, I made that one up. Well, I didn't hear crickets, but I heard cookies. I guess that counts. Yeah, well, I warned y'all ahead of time that the jokes were cheesy. So, okay. Okay, let's refresh the radar again. Oh, that's right. I only get this one in 10 minutes. Yeah, this nowCoast has been pretty cool to watch the track and stuff on it, but I'm not real happy with it. It's kind of slow and a little clunky in some respects. I mean, it gets the job done. I've tried using the Google Earth, and I've got a Google Earth set up that's got the radar and everything on it, but for some reason, when I use it in conjunction with the streaming software, it likes to crash a lot, and I don't get it. No, Mark, I'm not going to do nothing but jokes. Those are just two that I'd come up with. Well, the first one was an old one I was resharing. The second one was a new one. I just remembered them earlier tonight, and I thought, maybe I'd share them during the stream. And since there was only, there's not a whole lot of y'all watching, I figured, hey, if they bomb really bad, less people to see me, or less people to see it. Hey, Chris, bad live stream, had to lower to 240. Let me take a look at the stream health here. Says on my side, stream is green and healthy, but it still could be me. I know last night I was having some latency issues, a little bit of lag. You know, trying to open up just basic web pages, it would take them like 4 or 5 times longer. Okay, so let's see, what else is there to update? There's really not a lot to update. Volcano's still quiet. Really no earthquakes or anything of that nature, but that's a good idea. Let me go take a look. See, is that the earthquake viewer? We haven't done that. So I'm kind of curious whether all this rain could, you know, loosen up the rocks and stuff up on the summit and trigger some quakes. I don't know if that's possible or not. You would think, though. Hold on, I'm trying to get the page up here. There we go. Okay, this is sorted by one-day all magnitudes. We've had a quake down here near the lower East Rift Zone, and it was a 1.3, 6 kilometers south-southwest of Leilani, depth of 0.6 kilometers, so really no biggie. Looking down the list here on the left, it looks like the biggest one was a 2.7. Yeah, 2.7, and it was located right here. That's down off of Chain of Craters Road in Volcanoes National Park, actually. That's an interesting place for it. I wonder if, actually, I wonder how the road is down there. I know a lot of the roads up in Volcano are really kind of crunched up and cracked up. I mean, they almost look like the roads down here in Leilani, with the cracks and, you know, and all of them. And I think, actually, I showed y'all this picture the other night. This is Crater Rim looking north or southwest, I think it was, whatever, but up in the top right hand corner, that slope you see, that's the southern flank of Mauna Loa. And if you look just below that, you see the double yellow lines up there on that rubble. That's actually a road, and it's folded up and then over and then falls into the crack. You can even see there in the distance, if you look at that there, top, middle, just below the horizon line of the land and the sky, you see that little yellow sign there? That's exactly what that is. It's a road sign, and it looks like it's an arrow curving to the right, letting you know that, you know, there's a right curve coming up. Okay, let me look over at the comments. Good morning, aloha, Roy. Are you locals going to write your own West Side Story? I have no plans to, but who knows what others will do. Sophia, that's a good question. And actually, in the picture that you're looking at now, yes, that is Crater Rim Road. But as for Fissure 8 not being as tall after all this rain, I'm sure the rain will have some erosion effects on it. I really don't know how much, because it really is fresh lava and cinder, and it's kind of been all kind of like stuck together, you know, cemented a little bit. But it's not very strong either. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see once this storm passes, because I guarantee you USGS will be going out there doing some aerial flights and you know, some other ground observations. So once the storm passes, we'll actually get to take a look at you know, how the rain's affected everything. And which brings me to another point. Actually, thanks for asking that question, because the question's being asked about Poiki. boat ramp over at Isaac Holly Park, and the black sandbar that closed it in, and want to know, has the higher surf and waves and the storm affected that? And hi, Denise. Has that affected that and moved the sand or made it worse or whatever? And I have no idea if it has. I don't think anyone can really get out into that area right now because of the weather. So the weather's pretty much blinded us to the effects of the eruption and the flow fields. I know USGS is saying as weather allows, they go out and take observations, but I doubt that they've been out, looking in Leilani on anything. They've just been sitting, I'm sure, in their office looking at the seismographs and all their other little instrumentation, and if there was any sign or whatever that there was, unexpected quakes or land movement or tilts on the GPS monitors or anything like that, I think they would of course send someone out to look regardless of the weather. Because that would be kind of the last thing we need is a reactivation of Fissure 8 during the hurricane. That would actually kind of suck because everybody would be blinded to what's going on. We really wouldn't know what was happening until it was happening at our back doors. Hi, Allison from New Zealand. Oh, wow. Oh, I think we're getting a little bit of thunder. I thought I just heard some. Hello, Marlea. Aloha. Yeah, we're actually tonight's the worst night of it's been so far. Here, since you just joined us, let me go back over to the map, and you can see the radar map here. As you can see, this entire mass here is all rain. And it's been happening since this afternoon. And so what was happening to Hilo yesterday with all the energy, coming over us and then piling up on the mountain and sliding north into Hilo and dumping rain on them. I think it was almost 3 days they got nothing but constant rain out there. If y'all have watched any of Scott's streams or whatever, he was out there today or the other day and taking some video and just, Rainbow Falls, it really just looked like the spillway of a dam somewhere had been opened, and it was just really, really amazing. I haven't seen that much water here, since I've moved here either. So as you can see by the radar, yeah, we're getting all this rain dump on us, and this will probably continue throughout the night. However, I suspect come morning, the storm will have moved a little bit further northwest, and we'll see a significant diminishing in the rain that's being pushed up on us, because it's Mauna Loa right here that's catching that north east quadrant of the storm and shearing it off and pushing all that energy northeast of us. And excuse me, I said northeast quadrant, I meant southeast quadrant. My mistake. And I think I said that earlier, so I apologize for anyone that's been with me since the beginning. And I said northeast when I was talking about this earlier. I meant northwest, or excuse me, southeast. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my brain tonight. It's Hurricane Lane. That's what's doing it. Let's see what's going on in the comments. Chris, solar defense warning to stay at home because of flooding. Yes, there has been some flooding issues. It's all this rain we're getting. It just, there's nowhere for it to go. And it's funny because, the first time I heard about flooding on the island, I thought to myself, wait a minute, it's an island. All the land runs down, hill to the ocean. How could there be any flooding? But, even on an island, you have low areas or flatlands or areas that are kind of like in little depressions. So the water can, gather. And then, of course, the rivers, they start raging. I know there's some rivers causing problems on the island and some of the other islands too that are just overflowing their banks. There was a story on the news tonight about a house that there was some blockage up the river or something, and it broke free, and just this huge mass amount of water come flowing down the river, and the people said it literally just come right through the middle of their house. So that sucks for them, and everything's wet, and You know, I've had to deal with a house getting wet, you know, from a hurricane in Florida before, and that's no fun. Yeah, Sophia, I know. I've been watching that on the radar. Even right now, looking at the radar, if you're, you know, on the west side of the island, you know, centralized area and further south, you're really not getting any major weather. And it was even like yesterday, it was like, you know, no rain at all there most of the day for y'all. And for us yesterday, it was just the passing bands through. But today, it's just this constant, you know, constant rain, which we're used to. We've had 3 months of it already with the microclimate from the eruption. Hi, Pete from Scotland. And it's raining there for you too, but no tree frogs. You're missing out, man. The cookies are great. As long as they're outside and not up against your window. Then they get quite loud. But off in the distance, I really like them. Cornland, yeah. Well, we have the Puno geothermal venture that, you know, was producing geothermal for us. But a lot of us out here around it weren't very happy with the way everything went about. But that's a whole other story. I won't go into. A little too controversial, and I really just I reserve my opinion on that one. Good night, Chris. You have a good, you know, morning. Well, you're saying good night, so I guess, but then you say lunch. So I guess night to me, and it's lunchtime for you. So enjoy your afternoon. Have a great lunch. Oh, in the let's see. Okay, it took me a minute to kind of understand what you were asking, Pete. That spot is a benchmark medallion. It's what they use to measure different geophysical aspects of the summit. It's basically a survey marker. You'll actually find them all around the United States in different places. The USGS has them. It's like I've even seen the one down in Key West that they have down there. I forget exactly where it was. I think it was on the most southern key. And there was even another one on Jefferson State Park, Dry Tortugas, which is 70 miles west of Key West, Florida. That's an amazing place out there. So anyone in Florida that's down there, if you know what I'm talking about, you need to go watch or go see that place. Hi, John. Oh, you're 24 hours ahead of me, Chris. Wow. Well, it can't be quite 24. If it's lunchtime for you and it's midnight, it would only be 12 hours. But go eat your lunch, Chris. You said you were going to get off. Saturday night in Australia. Well, it's early Saturday morning here in Hawaii. Boy, actually, I just realized it's 12:24 Hawaii Standard Time. I didn't realize I'd been on this long. I started this at 11:30, so 55 minutes. Wow. Okay. Well, you know what that means, people. I didn't realize I'd been on this long. I was actually only going to do about a 30-minute report because there really wasn't a lot to talk about. But of course, y'all, got me chatting up a storm. No pun intended, even though that was kind of funny. You're right, John. You know what? You just did get here. So you know what? I'm not going to leave yet. That's not fair, is it? Before I go here, let me show you some cool stuff. What you're looking at here is the current radar. That we're still getting all that rain. No change there, John. I suspect this will continue throughout the night and possibly a good part of tomorrow morning as well. And let's see, what else do I have already queued up? Actually, this is something I know y'all liked the other day. This is the flyover Fissure 8. So I'll show you this, John, before I go. This one's actually really cool. I like watching this too. This is Fissure 8, the one that did, well, all the major damage. I mean, some of the other fissures erupted and did damage too, but this is the one that went on forever. And, oh darn, I forgot I was going to point something out in this video when it played. So it's not a very long video, so I'll replay it. I want to point out a look at that there for y'all. More interesting and entertaining than late night talk shows. Why, thank you, Sophia. You never know. This could be the new format of a late night talk show. You never know. Marlea, yeah. Boy, again, my tongue don't want to work tonight. You're right. It's a waste of time hoping. He's probably going to. He's just an adventurous guy. He loves, weather like this, and of course, and volcanoes and everything. So okay, so that replayed. I hope you enjoyed it, John. I like that one. Okay, so let me do this. That's Fissure 8. That's the last photo I have of Fissure 8, what it looked like before the storm. So, okay, I'm fixing to start the flyover. So everybody watch carefully because this is going to happen quick. If you look right here in the, come on, right here in the bottom right corner flying under us, that little hole, that is the lava tube that we had been watching, and it pops out right about there in the middle on that edge. Whether it's fully open or not, I don't know. I would love to see some really good video, but if you look right here, you can kind of see there's an opening right there in the bottom right-hand corner. So that was that lava tube that I pointed out many weeks ago when this all was starting. And excuse me. So that's one thing I am absolutely just completely ecstatic and just can't wait to be able to explore. I've been in a few lava tubes here and they're just absolutely amazing. Okay, so there you go, John. Gave you a little bit. Sorry you couldn't join it, but once I stop streaming, the stream will be archived, so you can go back and watch it again. I'm not sure how long it'll take before it's available, so just keep an eye out for it. Remember, hit that thumbs up button if you've enjoyed this chat tonight and the update. I really would appreciate that. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell icon if you haven't already, if you're new to joining us. No, John, no, you did just join us. It's not fair for you to join and then for me to sign off. It just wasn't fair. And I want every one of my viewers to be treated equally and fairly. So, what's good for them. Plus, I'm sure everybody else enjoyed it too. They want me to stay. But so anyways, as I was saying, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, do the subscribe, the bell icon. Don't forget to share it on Facebook and Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Don't forget, Linda, I want to see those photos on Twitter when you fly over next month. And check the links in the description for my Redbubble and Smug Mug. I have some great pictures available there and some t-shirts and stuff, because the Mongoose is on watch 24 hours a day for your safety, and he really wants you to get a t-shirt with his own custom sign on it. So you can see that over at my redbubble.com account. Links are in the description. So anyways, that will do it. I'm really glad y'all joined me. I kind of enjoyed this. I kind of like these late night talks. It's just me and y'all. It's very slow, low key. So maybe I'll have to do this every night. Well, maybe not every night, every other night. We'll see. Who knows what's going to happen next? We've had a volcano and 2 hurricanes. So with that said, y'all have a fantastic morning, an absolutely wonderful afternoon, or the most amazing night you've ever had.